Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. You can see I am not in the normal studio. I am back home for the week. Zay is in studio. Zay, how was your week? How was your weekend? Got some crazy Brown stuff we need to talk about with Nick Chubb, but I'll let you kick it off. How was the week? How was the weekend?
I'm recovering. Gut punch to the stomach, obviously. Been sick since yesterday. But the week, I can't even tell you about the week, honestly. I'm just here. Today's Tuesday, right? I don't even know what day it is. But I was poking fun at you. You're in Boston. I imagine it'd be a little bit better if your Boston Celtics were playing. I gave you a little crap for that. So besides that, how are you feeling? How was the trip to Boston?
I'm good. Boston's good. My baseball fans know Roman Anthony called up #1 prospect in the MLB. Get to see him this week, which will be very, very cool. Hopefully he gets his first hit in the game that I wound up going to. But Boston's good. However, I also felt the gut punch, even from thousands of miles away. I mean, we all knew Nick Chubb was going. We all knew he wasn't going to be back in Cleveland, but it certainly did not cushion the blow hearing the news. I think the only way it could have been worse is if it was an AFC North team, right?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would have been worse if it was the Steelers. Like, that would have been more. That would have been a nut punch. That wouldn't have been a gut punch. That would have been a nut punch. But it still is up there because the Texans. Like, how am I? Are we just gonna rebuild the Texans at this point? Because all their cornerstone pieces are like, it's like, here, compliments of the Browns, have fun. Like, it kind of got me feeling some kind of way that he ended up in in Houston, but. I think I'm just so excited that he's actually strapping up and getting an opportunity because we're sitting here, however many weeks into June, and we are like, what's going on? I mean, we talked about would Nick Chubb be on a roster before May 1st. It was a whole nother month after that. So I'm just happy that he gets to go out there and showcase his talent at least one more time. But, man, it does sting seeing him go to a team that we just can't seem to stop helping.
The Houston Texans have just emotionally drained the Browns the past 5 years. Think about it. Nick Chubb, you signed the heart of Cleveland when he finally leaves in free agency after a year. You sign him to a 1-year contract that wasn't worth a lot of money, at least comparatively, makes you wonder what the Browns offer you. But 2 years before that, you lose 45-14 to the Houston Texans in the playoffs when you seemingly had so much hope for the season with Joe Flacco finding ways to win games. You walk in the playoffs with an elite defense and an offense that was playing okay, and you were like, maybe we have a chance at this thing. Got blown out by the Texans. Then a couple years before that, the Deshaun Watson trade happens, where you take Houston's best player, the heart of Houston at some point, and you give away almost your entire future up until really this point, and it doesn't work out. Potentially the worst trade of all time, maybe the worst in NFL history. It's just unbelievable that the Houston Texans have completely dismantled the Browns bit by bit over the past 5-6 years.
Yeah, it's not fun. I mean, I guess it's better that I guess it's good that they haven't had like tremendous amount of success. But you go back to last year or 2023 when you talk about them beating us in the playoffs. I mean, how about the whirlwinds of emotions when you break records with Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper having the career days that they had, thinking that you're where you want to be, and then they just come out and punch you in the mouth in the playoffs. It's still a sour taste in our mouth, but. With Joe Flacco's back on the roster, new QB room, new running back room, slightly new receiver room. All we can hope for is the good old Cleveland Browns hope, right?
Yeah, well, there definitely is some hope, and there's definitely some on-field production. The first day of mandatory minicamp, at least when some of you are watching this on Tuesday, June 10th, was today. Joe Flacco, like you just mentioned, didn't throw. Whether it's a Veterans Day off or you just want to see other people get reps, he didn't throw. Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and Kenny Pickett all did. Interesting. And Zay and I talked about this before we even hopped on the show. Reps, I don't think really matter. Who's taking reps with who right now doesn't really matter. But Dylan Gabriel headlined the first offense against the first defense, 11 on 11 reps. Then Shedeur Sanders got some more 11 on 11 reps. I don't know if reps really matter at this point, but was there anything that stuck out the first day of mandatory minicamp that you want to talk about, Zay?
Couple things, actually. The first thing I'll say is the passes that we saw, the two passes that are highlighting today, which Shedeur Sanders, deep ball. I don't even know who that was to. I couldn't tell who it was. But
no idea.
That deep ball was chef's kiss. And then the past, Dylan Gabriel to Jamari Thrash in the end zone was a dime. Those two throws for sure. But I want to go to the press conferences, man. I think every time I hear Shedeur Sanders talk, I don't know what it is. It's not just me, because y'all know I love me some Shedeur. I'm not going to credit to me being a homer to Shedeur. I'm looking at this from an outside lens, and I'm just like, there's something about the way that he carries himself that just has QB1 written all over it, or it has something written all over it. And I think that I was talking to Nick about it before the show even started, just about like Baker Mayfield comes close to it, but the maturity level is just on completely different levels with the two. I think him being a 5th round pick is also just, it's house money, as Nick like to call it, because if he was a 5th round guy, or let's just say he was the 5th overall pick and we took him there, we'd be sitting here saying, or the 2nd overall pick, we'd be like, well, yeah, he's supposed to sound like this. He's a 1st round guy. He's this and this and this and whatever else you want to say. But just listening to his answers, the way that he's carrying himself, seeing Mary Kay try to come at her with her Mary Kay-esque type questions, and him just eating it just like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he has me ready to run through a wall, and it's day 1 of minicamp. What stuck out to you?
I love that point about the house money aspect, but also being who you are, the overhead cloud of who Shedeur Sanders is, the last name, the media deals, all the NIL stuff. It reminds me so much of Caleb Williams last year, that whole process with him, but it is night and day listening to those two talk in the media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't ever want to call somebody arrogant who you don't know, but there's definitely a sense of real humble approach from Shedeur Sanders when it comes to the media. And we've talked about it a couple times. It totally could have been a humbling by him falling in the draft. That totally could have happened. And whether that's right or wrong, whether you agree with that or don't agree with that, the reality is that could change the trajectory of somebody's character and belief in themselves. But Shedeur Sanders has taken it head on and not let it affect who he is, at least as it relates to his play on the field, who he is as a larger than life figure off the field. I love the fact that you brought up the press conference. The only other thing that was really refreshing to see was that everybody was there. It was good. We saw a Kenny Pickett throw to Deontay Johnson. I know 2022 Steelers fans are rolling in their grave seeing that. David Njoku was back. Myles Garrett was there. Did you see the Myles Garrett quote about the graveyard?
I did hear. That's going to be all over the place now.
The editors are going to have a field day with that one. That is for sure. But that's actually crazy to me that he's never sacked Aaron Rodgers. So that's good to know. He'll be working for that when they play the Steelers. I think it's October 12th, if I'm not mistaken, early October. But no, I don't want to overreact too much to OTAs. What is really nice is seeing everybody there, hearing everybody talk, and you can just tell the maturity level across the Browns roster has been really good the past month and a half. Shedeur Sanders has been excellent. I thought Dylan Gabriel has been really, really good too, because he is the guy that people are going to try to poke and prod to get an answer out of, where it's him versus Shedeur or there's divide in the locker room. I thought he's been really, really solid throughout that. All of this stuff. Everybody's been really, really good in the media's eyes. And it's kind of like round 1 of your fantasy drafts. It's kind of like the first couple weeks of the NFL season. You can't necessarily win your goal right now. The Browns can't win the Super Bowl in the offseason. You can't win your fantasy championship in the first round. You can't win the NFL season in the first 2 weeks of the season, but you can do a lot to lose it. And the Browns have definitely not done anything to lose it so far, which is really good.
No, yeah, it's just weird being in the situation because of the season that we had last year coming into this year, the hype, the hope, or whatever you want to call it. It's just a weird spot to be in, because if you just take a step back and you look at this with a different lens, without the Cleveland Browns fandom lens, I feel like the Browns have grown so much over the past few years, from the top down. And when you talk about rebuilds and you talk about certain things of wanting to get better, it always starts with the top. And while I'm sure there's probably a lot of hate for Jimmy Haslam, and while there's probably still a lot of hate for Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, whoever you want to put hate towards, they've grown every year in some aspect. And I think in terms of the team, I just love the fact that we were looking at voluntary workouts, and you've seen guys like Denzel Ward out there with Martin Emerson, and you've seen Grant Delpit, and you've seen all the vets minus Myles Garrett be out there. It's nice to have that refreshing sense that like these guys are bought in. And I believe it was Grant Delpit who actually was asked about this yesterday or the day before, where he mentioned that the guys are just bought into the system. They're bought into what's being presented to them right now. So I'm anxious to see how that carries on into the season, because right now it seems as if the guys are all on the same page.
It definitely does. And it seems like the energy throughout the building is different. And that starts from the top down. We're going to talk top down in a second here on Never Sunny in Berea. But before we move on, I want to give a big shout out to the Colleague Companies Championship. Guys, for 72 years, Firestone Country Club in Akron, Ohio has been a stage for some of the greatest golfers in history and a staple in professional golf, but it's more than a tournament. It's a celebration of community and philanthropy, having raised over $34 million for charitable organizations. Over the past 2 years, we raised $2.6 million for and given to over 25 Northeast Ohio charities. One ticket for two experiences. Not only ticket holders have an opportunity to watch legendary golf, but they also receive complimentary access to the Colleague Infinity Zone, the epicenter of off-course fun, over 50,000 square feet, located at the main entrance and exit. It elevates fan experience with interactive activities, bar and lounge areas, food trucks, and celebrity appearances. Once play ends for the day, the Colleague Infinity Zone transforms into a full-fledged music festival for live performances. Get your tickets today, colleaguegolf.com, June 18th to 22nd. And on June 19th, Zay and I will be having a live show at 3 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you are there if you are able. We are going to move on to Never Sunny in Berea up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay, and Honor the Land is proudly sponsored by Infinity. Infinity, safety never looked so good. Test drive the Infinity QX80, the 2024 IIHS top safety pick. Safe, sleek, sophisticated. The all-new QX80 is a safe choice in every luxurious way. You put your family first, and so do we, with a suite of standard safety features. The 2025 QX60, also an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, is as safe as it is luxurious. Safe enough for your little ones. Meet your new security blanket, the 2025 QX60. Guys, this is Never Sunny in Berea, where we attribute weather reports to three people in the Browns building and really in the Browns world. Our final one is going to be the all-encompassing Browns world, but we need to start with the man, I just referenced him, the top down, Andrew Berry. We need to assign a weather report to Andrew Berry amidst the roster construction right now, as well as the running back situation with Nick Chubb. Because the reality is they restructured Jerome Ford. They brought Nick Chubb in for meetings to potentially sign him. It didn't work out. And then he leaves and signs with the Houston Texans. Zay, what is your weather report for Andrew Berry amidst all of this stuff right now?
This might be the easiest weather report I've having to give in right now. You know, when you're driving on the freeway, right? And you're like, oh, there's a storm ahead. And then like 2 seconds later, you're in like what you feel like is a tsunami. I've had a couple instances where I was driving and I'm like, okay, I might have to pull over. This is bad. And then like a couple seconds later, a couple minutes later, it's like sunny, like nothing ever happened. Right now, Andrew Berry is the center of that tsunami storm with bad weather behind him and good weather in front of him. Once he gets through this Nick Chubb-esque type thing and we see Quashan and Samson and just these guys, the new guys that he brought in play, I think we can have a different talk right now. But right now, today, as it stands, it is a tsunami. I almost have to pull over driving right now because of how bad the rain is coming down right now. Because, I mean, we talked about it right at the open the show. It's a gut punch to everybody that's pretty much involved with Cleveland, besides the people who are like, well, he was washed. It's good that he's gone. I'm not with that. It's a tsunami right now for Andrew Berry, but it will pass. It'll pass.
It will pass. And I think most logical, rational Browns fans are in the mental capacity that they know it's going to pass. And even though everybody loves Nick Chubb, you are completely under the assumption and belief that it will get better with an infusion of youth at the running back position. However, that does not mean it is easy to stomach emotionally. And I think that's where a lot of people, like both of us, are at. We know the optimism for Quinshon Judkins. We know the optimism for Dylan Sampson. but you just love Nick Chubb so much you don't want to see him go. I think that's a great weather report. I was thinking in the storm world as well. I think it's just pouring rain. I think that's the reality of it. Eventually, the rain is going to subside. It's that half of the storm weather where you can see it's nice outside, you can see
Mm-hmm.
it down the line, but you are so stuck in the rain physically, emotionally that you don't want to admit it, but you don't want to look ahead to the sun. All you can do is be in the present moment with the rain falling down on your face. So I'm with you. I do want to ask, Zay, was there ever a moment after the Jerome Ford restructure where you thought Chubb would be back?
I mean, we kind of had a little bit of hope there, but I think the writing was on the wall the second they drafted Samson. I think if you come out with just Quashan and you have Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong on the roster, I think the likelihood of Nick Chubb coming back would have been probably in that 70 percentile where it's like 70% he's coming back. But once they went ahead and took Dylan or Sam, did I said Dylan, right?
Yeah.
Once you got him, I think the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, gosh, the writing has definitely been on the wall for youth infusion at the running back position. We've known that walking into the draft. We had, I want to say, every single mock draft we had a running back to the Browns,
Hmm.
whether it was Caleb Johnson, Cam Scadabo. I know I had RJ Harvey in mind, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, a bunch of different guys. Well, it got to a point when the Browns traded down. I was even playing devil's advocate for them to take Ashton Genty at 5. We all knew youth was coming at the running back position for the Browns, but you are 100% right. When it was Dylan Sampson, you looked at this Browns roster and you were immediately like, all right, it's Ford or Chubb. One of them's gone.
Hmm.
It's hard to keep full running backs, even in the returner world that we're in right now. You knew somebody was going, but there's optimism with the youth infusion. And I want to bring us to that next. The second person, or I guess people in Never Sunny and Berea, the running back room. Dylan Sampson, Quinshon Judkins, and Jerome Ford. Is there going to be somebody else? Pierre Strong is a question mark. He obviously helps in the return game, but we don't know if he's going to be back. We don't know. We're getting out of DeAndre Carter in the return game. Are other receivers going to produce where you look at Carter and Pierre Strong, you say, okay, we got to keep one of them. What is the weather report for the Cleveland Browns running back room right now?
I think we kind of got a glimpse of it the other day, like the Florida weather. It was nice. It was like beautiful outside, and then it rained
Mm-hmm.
for like I think 10, 15 minutes, and then it got like humid and sunny again right after that. Only reason why the rain obviously is Nick Chubb, but how can you not just be looking at this running back room and not have some excitement? I think we have to put it into perspective as well. The Browns have to feel extremely confident in this running back room if you're going to let a guy go like Nick Chubb. A guy, I mean, you've seen what Jimmy and D Haslam's report was, or quote when it was official that he was a Texan, and how much Nick Chubb meant to the city. You don't just let Nick Chubb go if you think that if you don't think that Sampson and Junkins are the guys moving forward, right? So I think it's kind of like that, just that Florida everyday weather. I know we're not in Florida, we're in Ohio, but every day they wake up, there's always some rain. Like I think it rains every day in Florida, and then the sun comes out. I think right now it's just a little wet outside from the rain that came out, but I'm still looking at this with bright skies. That sun's beaming. I'm super, super excited to see what these guys are gonna do because let's just face it, it's a new era in Cleveland right now.
It is a new era in Cleveland, and that is exactly where I'm going. You know, it's the point late May, early June where we get that first really hot day. That first true 85-degree day when we've been used to 50s and 60s throughout the spring. And on the surface, you've been dying for this weather. You've been dying for the sun. You've been dying for the day where the clouds are not out, but it just feels horrible because you're not used to this temperature. Your body literally is not accustomed to the heat that you're feeling. That is exactly what this is like in the Browns world with the running back room because you are wishing for youth infusion. You're wishing for more than 3.5 yards per carry from your offense. That's the reality of it, guys. That's what we all want. But sometimes it takes some emotional pain, a little bit of emotional toughness to move through that brief moment of, damn, this sucks. And that's exactly what is happening with the Nick Chubb thing right now. It sucks. Nobody wants to get rid of Nick Chubb. But when you look at how he played last year, you look at the dip in production in the run game, really the last 2 years, something needed to change. And that was the reality of it. So as soon as we can get through this tough period, it's going to be really nice. It's going to be what we've been wishing for throughout the 40, 50, 60-degree days. But it's so much easier said than done.
That first, I see it now. The first 30, 40-yard run that Quashawn does, oh, man. We're going to be like, I can already see the tweets now. Chubb who? And y'all wanted to keep Chubb. Yeah. Like, it's going to be that type of day. We might have to do a weather report on after the first run of Ten's career, because I can already see it's going to be, this side's going to be like, told you so, and then it's going to be this side. It's like, well, it's not Nick Chubb.
All right, let's embrace debate. Is Nick Chubb's number getting retired in Cleveland?
So I think I seen Daryl Ryder say that he's going to make it into the ring, which we talked about last week. Would Baker Mayfield make it? Would Miles make it? We went down a list of guys and would they make it, right? It's almost as is Nick Chubb more of a bona fide lock to make it into the Ring of Honor over Baker Mayfield? I think there's a real conversation that needs to be had here, because I think people are just kind of throwing away the fact that Baker Mayfield shouldn't even be in the conversation for that. But I'm on the other side of that. I think there's a real conversation that Baker Mayfield should be in that Ring of Honor, because Baker Mayfield played a huge role in where we are today. But in terms of the Nick Chubb thing, is his number retired? I feel like he's one of those exceptions, right? When you talk about exception, Joe Thomas, he falls right in line with the Joe Thomas. But then you think about a guy who, part of the Big Play Network, Joshua Cribbs' number isn't retired.
Yeah.
I mean,
Deontay Johnson.
Deontay Johnson is wearing his number.
Deontay Johnson wearing Josh Cribbs' number. That's crazy. We're going to talk about that later too. But I'm with you. There is a real conversation. I would say Chubb is more worthy of the Ring of Honor than Baker Mayfield. But anybody who's sitting here and saying, are you kidding? It's not even a debate. You are fooling yourself because of the impact that Baker Mayfield had. Like the consensus, we did our draft last week. Consensus 101, best Browns moment in the 21st century is a win led by Baker Mayfield. I'm just putting it out there. I want to turn it.
A lot of people will argue that. That and say it was at the hands of the defense.
It's at the hands of a lot of people. It was. But you know what? Quarterbacks will take the blame when you lose. They should get all the praise, or most of the praise, when you win, if it's the same on the other side. But I want to turn it back to the Browns fans. That's our final weather report we want to do here. I want you to give a weather report for us, Browns fans all across the world. What is the weather for everybody right now? Because you just lost your star player, or your fan favorite player, I should say. You just lost your fan favorite player, and the roster that you were walking into mandatory minicamp with on the offensive side of the ball, especially, you can't even write this. Like, if you look back at the Browns 2 years ago, there's no way you could piece together the 11 that are going to be out there on the offensive side of the ball.
I think the weather kind of emulates, like, not this past winter, but like the previous winters that we've had some very, very mild winters. And what I mean by that is, like, we were expecting harsh winters, like a lot of snow and just dreadful days. But, like, there were a lot of days in the winter where we were like, man, it's kind of nice outside. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then there was that stretch where it's like, okay, it's -2 outside. This is brutal. And then it's like, okay, this is the typical winter that we were expecting. I think there's a lot of different angles. Like, I think there's no one weather report for the entirety of the fan base, because we've talked about this plenty of times. The fan base has never been more divided than it is currently today. Like, from the Deshaun Watson trade to now, we have been as divided as I can remember being a fan. So I think it's that kind of like surprising winter where it's like, it's not that bad. But then today, like yesterday, it's like, okay, it's pretty bad. And then it's like, we're living in the same old Browns. Is like, this is what we're used to. We're back to hoping for the quarterback to work out. We're back hoping that we don't go 4-12 again. Like, this is all familiar territory for us. So I give it to the past, like I said, not this past winter, but the 3 or 2 winters before, where it's like, this ain't as bad of a winter as I thought. We were right where we need to be. That's what I give it to.
You know what's crazy? I agree with you. I'll spin my weather report so it's a little different, but I agree with you. It's this idea of this isn't that bad, right? And I honestly think it's because there's less expectations.
Mhm.
Last year was so bad because of the expectations. Even 2 years ago was a good year, so it's hard to say it was bad, but the overall struggles that you had, it was really bad, especially in the Deshaun Watson world, because of the expectations. Now there's no expectations. This is like the one
This is
anti-seasonal
2023.
day you get. Yeah. It's the one anti-seasonal day you get. It's the 60-degree day in January. It's like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. There's no expectations here. That's the reality of it. But you're right. The Browns fan base is very much divided with everything going on, and this whole Nick Chubb thing honestly probably created less division because everybody's upset. But you're right. This fan base isn't in shambles, but in a place where they're divided, saying maybe it's not as bad as we thought it was, even though it's still pretty bad. We're going to move on to our Dogs on Draft, our Cleveland uniforms draft, up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay, and this is Dogs on Draft, the drafting segment of our weekly show where we pick a topic to draft our top 5 of. Myself, Zay, and Pat. We go round robin. This week we are doing the 5 best Cleveland sports uniforms. This is going to get crazy. We were just talking about it before we hopped on. It's almost an advantage because it's so subjective to not have the number 1 overall pick. But Pat, I'm going to turn it to you. What is the draft order? Live reaction. Here we go.
All right, we're doing it right now, guys, here. So the first one, we're going to do Max's number first. Max has the 3rd pick. Now we're going to do Zay's number. Zay has the 2nd pick, and I have number 1.
Okay.
We were just
you got
talking
the
in the
one.
break. I got the number 1 pick. We
GGs.
were just talking in the break there that's the most difficult one, to be honest with you. But for me, it has to be the Navy 07, Cavs jerseys, the alternates, the blue alternates. I think it's just seeing LeBron take down the Pistons that way in those jerseys. It's kind of a difficult one, but that was one of the first jerseys I owned because my family wouldn't let me get Browns jerseys because they were all gone. So that's the cheat code is my dad wouldn't let me get Guards jerseys or Browns jerseys. I mean, why would I get a Browns jersey? But I mean, the first Browns jersey we had was Brian Hoyer. So I don't know what to tell you, but I'm taking that Cavs jersey. That's a lot of info to just dump right there on you guys too as well.
No,
that is hilarious.
that's a great pick. Honestly, probably
That's a Cleveland upbringing, by the way.
I would have gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That is crazy. That's probably what I would have gone with my 101. I was going back and forth. Probably what I would have taken.
Wow.
Both of you guys are wrong. Like I thought we would have. I thought somebody would have been with me on this. It's a Cavs jersey.
Sure. Okay.
Are you guys forgetting?
Don't take it.
We won a championship in this jersey.
What? Okay.
The black sleeve jersey.
No
Now
way.
I know it's not
the
a
YMCA joints.
Now I get it. Now I knew that was coming
Come
because I
on.
know that the players didn't like the sleeves, and I know that it's not the best appealing. But like, what other jersey have we had success in? We won a championship with the
True.
black jersey.
I mean,
How
I
can
guess.
that not be at least in your top 2, right? Like,
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I
But
mean,
the thing
come
is
on now.
like the memories attached to that jersey is why it gets you there for sure.
We
but
won.
Yeah.
We won it for sure. Those hats too, like those were garbage as well. Like everything about it, I don't know why, man. Like those hats that they had, the gray ones in the year before too.
You know which
low-key
hats were the
trash.
best?
What's that?
The denim ones.
No way.
The
Interesting.
the denim
Ooh,
Eastern
interesting.
Conference
Oh, okay.
ones were fire.
Ooh.
Is that the one that Kendrick Perkins was like in 2017 or whatever it was? Do you remember that picture of Kendrick Perkins? He did absolutely nothing, and he's like, "I got the trophy and I got the hat." And all
It
that.
might be that one because it was the same year that they had the black with the white brim.
Okay.
For the finals.
Did nothing on the group project, and then
Or
Yeah.
that those hats were my dog chewed mine up. So,
brutal.
but yeah,
Oh,
Cavs
man.
black jersey
That's-
101.
Okay.
Like we won a championship in
Wow.
it. That has
That's a
to
good
be
one.
number 1.
Man.
That was towards the top of my big board too.
You're going the other one I was gonna pick, huh?
I'm before. So this was. I was debating what Pat took, and this one is my 101. I'm going Browns all white, white pants, white jersey, white.
Wow.
helmet. I'm going Browns all white.
Okay.
Browns
Okay.
all white. But for my second one, see, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be there for me back around. So I think I got to take a swing now. This past year's Cavs City Edition, the light blue. That's what I'm going with.
Take it.
Wow.
Take
Zay can't have it. Doesn't want it.
Wow, really? I think
I'm
that
liking my list right now.
that has been, to me at least, a fan favorite jersey, the most consensus. I love this jersey across all 3 teams in
The white with the
past,
blue,
probably
right?
10 years. Yeah, the blue jersey.
Okay.
The white with the blue. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
That's
my
what I'm going
number
on.
Right back to
2
Zay.
I've got a
That
pick
one kind of shocked
here.
me, Max. I'm not gonna lie to you. That one kind of shocked me.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Everything
the white
is
all right.
edition. Okay.
everything is still on my board except for
Yeah, the
your white.
101, yeah.
Do I want to go back-to-back Cavs here?
You can.
I'm gonna hate myself if I don't do it. The Cleveland Browns color rush, the brown color
orange?
rush. No, the brown
color
one.
rush.
Okay.
The all
okay. I was
brown.
gonna say.
Are you doing the piping on the jersey sleeve? Because they had the ones that without them too.
Whenever the year was with Jarvis and Odell
Yep.
and Dallas,
Yep.
with the color
Those
rush,
ones, unbelievable.
that jersey, that is probably their best jersey combination
that.
ever. The all brown. The all brown with the orange letters and orange. Just sign me up, please.
Wow.
I like that. I like
Wow.
that.
Okay, so Max had the Browns all white. Are you talking like the early 2000s one, or is that like the recent?
No,
yeah,
I'm
got you.
The recent one
Yeah,
with the white
recent David
helmets
Njoku.
too.
Yep.
Yes.
Interesting.
Oh, the
okay.
1946 ones.
Yeah, 1946. Those ones are good.
Oh,
I
of
was
course.
thinking like early.
Gotta bring up Chubb.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well,
Too soon.
that's the nostalgia I'm playing on
Too
for
soon,
sure.
man. Too
That's
soon.
sick. I'm throwing up in my mouth.
I think okay, so it's funny because I don't even know if you can't really see it in the studio right now, but the Hanford Dixon jersey that we have that hangs up behind the top dog as we record all the time, that's a classic 80s Browns jersey. I could probably actually just put it on Hanford's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it right there on the studio, but that Hanford Dixon jersey right there, I think we've got another Bernie Kosar and a Phil Dawson one, so that's what I'm going with. The classic, like late '80s brown with the orange piping and the white on the jersey sleeve. I think I'm going with that one. It might be a little bit of a reach, but I think if you
No,
get
I
some
don't think that's
'80s
bad at all,
browns
yeah.
and nostalgia going, I think that's a really good one.
I like that. So you got the Navy 07 Cavs,
Yep.
late 80s Browns, and then you're back up going back around.
Yeah, so it's so crazy too because like I wouldn't really normally want to double up, but I'm going the LeBron wine jerseys. Yeah,
that's
got
what
to.
I
Like,
yep.
unfortunately, it's kind of what Max was saying. Like, it wouldn't get back to me. It was between two Cavs jerseys for
Yep.
me right there. But the wine one, it's just the way that they Delonte West, they would always do this thing before the game and the photos. Like those teams have such a special place in my heart. I got to have them.
That really was
like that.
really my first pick for real.
Wow.
But like I just hold the champion.
Yeah.
We won in that jersey, so I had to put it number one. That truly was.
That's a steal at where
That's
it is.
my favorite, I think, Cavs jersey personally, without any meaning behind it.
Sure.
That's a good one.
So my number 3, since you took the wine and gold, which is exactly where I was going. I think we're gonna play this and get the third sport in there. We gotta go the classic white Indians Wahoo.
Yep.
Indians across the
Ooh.
chest, the Wahoo on the sleeve, like Jim Tomey, Kenny Lofton, Manny Ramirez. I'm talking 90s Indians Wahoo.
Yes, sir.
Give me that for number 3.
Those crisp whites too,
I
because there's
love
something
that.
about
Beautiful.
the contrast of a beautiful green grass, brown dirt on the infield and a white jersey. It's such a beautiful contrast to elite choice. Absolutely elite choice.
I'm following suit with you right there, Zay, but I'm going 2016 World Series Navy, not white.
Oh,
the Rajay Davis home run uniform.
Ooh,
So
okay.
that's what I'm going. 2016 World Series.
You
Yeah,
like to throw
2016
your
World Series
losses in
Navy.
there with us, huh?
Yeah.
You last week
well,
you had
you know
the
what?
Man.
what was the
doesn't
one that
sting
he
as
had
much
last
for him.
year or
Oh,
last
the,
week?
The Chubb
Chubb,
game.
yeah.
The Chubb game.
Unbelievable.
Although you know what? I took the Browns moment draft, so I'm not going to complain. Maybe it worked. Maybe it's struck some
It's
emotion.
because you had the playoff win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Regardless, I'll trust my process. And you guys, these next two, I don't know if this one's out of left field. I guarantee you, absolutely nobody's going to take my final one. But I'm going to go with I guess, has the Guardian City Connect changed the past 2 years? It hasn't, right?
Nope.
The block
the
letter
blues.
ones, right?
Yeah, block letter, just Guardian City Connect. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I stole that one from me. Just Jose Ramirez in that jersey is crisp too.
Yeah.
That's the thing about
100%.
it. So,
Or did you do your 2? Is it back to me?
should be back.
Yeah, it's back to Zay now.
Zay, yeah.
All right, good. Because now I have to think of one after this. I'm surprised it's not off the board yet. The throwback orange Cavs jersey. The one that LeBron
Ooh.
wore when Anderson Varejao was here, and they used to give away the Varejao.
Wow.
What you call
dude.
it? The all orange with the. I think it's the white Cavs. The LeBron one. I actually have that jersey still to this day. That jersey is just so crisp, and I just remember it
With
was
the, It had the V with the ball in the bucket.
Yes,
basically.
yes.
Okay.
That jersey is so fire.
Yep.
The shoes that went along. I think it was the Zoom 3s, maybe the
Zoom
one.
3s are elite.
You know, the black with the white, kind of like.
Oh yeah, the wavy. Yep.
So they had that color with those colors in it, the white and blue and the orange. So give me the Cavs throwback orange.
Man.
I like that.
Man, that's a great choice right there, honestly. So it's back to me for 2, I believe, right?
Yep. Use your final 2.
My final 2 picks. That's such a brutal one. Whew. I overload on Cavs. That's the problem. But man, I'm between 2 Cavs choices. That's the thing. And it's funny because I'm of all the teams, I'm a bigger guards fan. But I think I'm going with the basically it was 2022 throwbacks, the ones that Chetty Osman wore with the black and light blue Cavs, where it has the swipe on the front, basically.
Oh,
so
yes, I know what
similar
you're
to the one
talking
that
about.
Max got before. But if you can specifically get the new jerseys with the Zydrunas Ilgauskas that they're selling in the team store right now, because it's a throwback from the 90s, but you bring it back to the mid 2010s, late 2010s elite jersey. I have to do that one. And then honestly, I think I'm going Donovan Mitchell Cleveland City Connect with the sky blue with.
I do have that on my list.
Oh man, stolen already. Man, forgot it.
Hey, you guys were trashing me for that pick too.
Hey, so my last pick though, guys, I think it's gonna be a tough one because I'll probably go current with it. I think it's the red Guardians home Jose jersey that I've got.
That's good.
I don't know
that's
what
good.
it is. Like for years and years, I wasn't a big fan of the red Guardians jerseys. I don't know. It just didn't seem like a primary color. It was white and blue for Guardians games, but I think just having a red alternate for a baseball team is a really good choice. I think that's what I'm going with.
like that.
Before I give my last pick, just because there was a throw around with him, we got a little bit of breaking news, not necessarily like major breaking news, but Ian Rappaport reported that Kirk Cousins says he's moving forward with Atlanta and is focused on being the best backup possible. So it looks like he's taking that back seat, and you could throw away any conversations that the Browns are trading for Kirk Cousins still. Like, what the heck were we talking
No
about
more.
there?
I don't know. I'm with you.
But
Crazy.
With that out of the way, this is actually where it's probably the toughest because like I don't think there's any other guards or Indians jersey that I can think of. The blue one maybe, but I already got the classic white. I think the Browns ones, it's tough because everything with the Browns is just classic jerseys that we've seen. There's nothing been over the top. So I think I have to go back to the Cavs, and I'm going to go with, I think it was during the same era. It's not the Mark Price one, but it's the one that has the black and blue divided.
Zay, you got the 90s, basically the 90s one.
Yeah,
I'm talking the re-release of it. I'm talking the new.
I'm talking the original.
Okay,
Okay.
you got the Sean.
They
Kemp.
are.
It's
They do
very
look a little different.
very similar because I think the Nike version of it would be a little slightly different. So I think we'll give that one a pass, honestly.
Okay.
Even though they're very similar, right?
Oh yeah, this is definitely different. I'm looking at it now. That's different.
We'll specify the year. We can specify the year, but that's your final pick, Zay?
Well, you have the jerseys right next to the list anyway, so they'll see the difference. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with that one, man, is because I can't think of anything else.
That's the tough part is you run out of them,
Yeah. Let me
Yeah,
guess, you got one sitting in your glove.
Oh, 100%. I'm disgusted nobody took a Cleveland Monsters jersey. That's crazy.
I
Oh,
thought
man.
about it.
I'm going with the current black Cleveland Monsters jersey, and for all I care, you could put any Cleveland Monster jersey. You could put the pierogi jersey. I almost did the pierogi jersey, but you need a Cleveland Monster jersey on this list, guys. That's actually crazy. I can't believe that. I didn't know if a Monsters jersey was going to get back to me. That's crazy.
Wow.
But I'm going with the Monsters. I'll go with the black one for all intents and purposes, but that is what I'm going with. So my list, I got the Browns all white, the current Cavs light blue City Edition, 2016 Indians World Series, current Guardians City Connect, and then Cleveland Monsters black. Zay.
I've got the Cavs black championship because we won the championship. How can that not be the first choice? Second, I got the Browns color rush. Chief Wahoo Indians all white.
The one
Throwback
with
orange
LeBron,
Cavs.
had a little feather, I think, on it. Yeah.
And then I have to round it off the throwback 90s Cavs black and baby blue.
Yeah, I love that,
Love
guys.
it.
I with the 101 went the Navy Cavs 07 alternates. Then I got to get me a Hanford Dixon Bernie Kosar late 80s Browns jersey. 2007 right back to the wine and gold, the classic LeBron. Then the 2022 90s re-release is slightly different from what Zay had for the Cavs jerseys. The re-release that Darius Garland and all those guys wore. And then get the finish it out with the red guards home jersey.
Love it. All right, guys, we will put a poll out for you on Twitter and Instagram to vote which draft you think is the best. We're going to move on to our next top 5 list. We have to do it. Our top 5 Nick Chubb moments up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Honor the Land. I am Max Loeb, he is Chef Say, and we are going to count down our top 5 Nick Chubb moments as a Cleveland Brown. This is a tough list to make given the circumstances, but also just given the fact that there are so many good Nick Chubb games and moments. And I'm curious today if we have any overlap with our top 2, because in my mind, when I was making the list, there were 2 that stuck out, and then I had to find the rest. But I'll let you go first if you have any honorable mentions, and then your number 5 in this list.
I don't think we'll have any overlaps because I kind of went. My number 1 is personal, so I'll just get that out the way. But I feel like we might have. I feel like we might have some overlaps somewhere. But I definitely have honorable mentions. It was tough because I was like, I don't really want to do it, but the stiff arm Chubb to Pittsburgh Steelers and to the Philadelphia Eagles. He's got 2 of them.
Oh, okay. I was saying I had the Eagles stiff arm, but go yes.
Obviously the Eagles won. That one was good, but that stiff arm against the Steelers was. It's replaying in my head over and over and over and over and over. I can just watch it all day. 24 hours of straight Nick Chubb stiff arming the Steelers player, but that only got like 3 yards. But my number 5, we're gonna go the walk-off touchdown with Tampa Bay. I believe he had a run that set up either the game-tying touchdown pass or he set himself up for the game-tying or the winning touchdown. But that moment was huge in itself, just for the simple fact that was a clip that the Browns reached out to me that day and was like, "Hey, can you send us the clips from this Tampa Bay game?" And Nick Chubb getting a walk-off touchdown and me beating the crap out of my chair, saying, "Get on a plane, go home." I'll never forget it. So that's my number 5.
I like that. That's a good one. Let me ask you before we keep going. Do you have any moments that are not on the football field?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Me too. Awesome. So that's where my number 5 is. There were some great statistical performances. I talked about the Raiders game last week. There was also his career high in rushing yards. I know was against the Falcons, but there was also, I believe it was 165 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns against Baltimore. 162. But I want to stay 162.
Yep.
Okay. There you go. I wanted to stay away from the stats, though. I don't know if you remember. This is my number 5. I don't know if you remember. It was during his recovery in the 2023 season when he was at Crocker Park and he got recognized by somebody there. And word spread like wildfire that Nick Chubb was at Crocker Park. And immediately within 15 minutes of this, 100+ people surrounding him, just him walking out of a door somewhere in Crocker Park because people loved him so much they couldn't keep their eyes off of him. They needed to know where he was in this recovery process. And that was a moment where I looked at the Browns fan base and I was like, this fan base in general is just a little bit different. How much they love this guy, just seeing him out in public in Crocker Park. It's one thing for a dozen people to stop and take pictures with him, but it's another thing for 100 people to stop what they're doing and just say, oh my gosh, it's Nick Chubb, and be in awe of the moment. So that is my number 5.
It's funny. I don't remember that moment. Which
interesting.
Is crazy.
I'll have to send the clip, or we can pull the clip up, but I have it somewhere.
I can only imagine, let me turn on the freeway and just go. Let me go back to Crocker Park real quick and go see the boy real quick. But it's funny.
Exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned the statistical game. I had to get a couple of them on there, and that's my number 4. It was against the Ravens. 16 carries, 162 yards, 3 touchdowns. One of those runs being 88 yards. There's just so many iconic Nick Chubb games. Not even iconic Nick Chubb games, just games where it's just like, this dude is the best running back in the league. And that was one of the games where you're like, this is against a Ravens team. This was the Freddie Kitchens era. And him to just peel off 16 carries for 162 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, how many times do you get to see one of your running backs go for 3 touchdowns? So give me that for number 4.
I like that. I like that a lot. My number 4, you already mentioned, it's the Eagles stiff arm. I think back to any run that would encapsulate who Nick Chubb is. The first phrase I think of when I think of Nick Chubb is bowling ball. That is the most bowling ball run I've ever seen in my life because he doesn't move when he stiff arms the defender. I believe it was Derek Barnett or Brandon Graham, but he doesn't move when he stiff arms a defender who's much bigger than him and then keeps going and rips off a 54-yard run, breaking more tackles down the line. He got stopped at the 3-yard line, regardless, inside the 5. It was one of the most unbelievable things. I remember I was actually home in Boston watching this because it was during COVID, if I'm not mistaken, that year, where I was like, I don't know what I just witnessed. Nobody that size should be able to have a person who's noticeably bigger than them just bounce off of him. So that is the most Nick Chubb run I can think of, that stiff arm against the Eagles.
I think that was the same game. You said he got onto the 3. Was that very next play the play where Kareem Hunt hurdled one of the Eagles players for a touchdown? I believe that was
Oh,
the
I don't
same
know.
game.
Interesting. Okay, we got to look back at that. But yes, the Nick Chubb run against the Eagles, I mean, that sticks out to me as just the most Nick Chubb run ever.
So my number 3, you mentioned it on your top moments last week. How can the Raiders game not be on there? 3 carries, 2 touchdowns, and what was it, 96 or 102 yards or something like that? Like,
yeah, 35 yards per carry.
That was the moment where we were starting to dislike Hugh Jackson on so many levels because for some reason he thought Isaiah Crowell was better than Nick Chubb, and they were waiting for God knows what to put him in the game. And I think it still took time for Nick Chubb to finally take over the duties after that. But I just remember the baseball field being on there and just seeing Nick Chubb's dirt come from his heels because he was just gone. He touched the ball. It's like, oh my God, we got ourselves a running back. This is it. So give me the Raiders 3 carry, 2 touchdown game, number 3.
I love it. That's a really good one. I'm also going with another 2 touchdown game, if I'm not mistaken, 2 touchdowns. But the Snow Globe game from last year, that game itself was just a different animal. When you look back at that game and see the impact that Nick Chubb had, and if I'm not mistaken, it was the de facto game-winning touchdown that he wound up scoring against Steelers. I think he scored the last touchdown. Regardless, 2 touchdowns against Steelers in that Snow Globe game. That is the most Cleveland Browns football game I can think of, and there was nobody that had a bigger imprint on the game in terms of their overall production, not one play, because we all remember the Jameis run. It was Nick Chubb, multiple touchdowns against the division rival in a game that you didn't think you should win. Leaning into that, the peak of the Jameis fever too. That is probably the last really good memory Browns fans will have of Nick Chubb.
My number 2 is it's almost one that you could genuinely drop a tear on. That welcome back press conference interview when he's just I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it now, where he's just standing there and all the players in the locker room are hyping him up and just like, Chubb, welcome back. And you just see the look on Chubb's face where it looked like he was trying his best not to cry. I can't think of a more emotional, happy moment knowing that he was back in that locker room. You think about all the disconnect that there was for one day, for one moment, everybody was in unison. Whether you loved what the Browns were doing, whether you loved or hated Deshaun Watson, everyone came together in that moment and could not be more happier to see Nick Chubb back in the locker room on the press conference, just knowing he was about to get on that field. So I think back to that moment and just the look on his face. Go back to the clip and just look at his face. That is my number 2, and it would probably be my number 1 if it didn't hold so much, personal value to me.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I got a welcome back thing on my list as well, but I don't want to gloss over the playoff touchdown against the Steelers. I don't want to gloss over that. It was a screen pass. It was a receiving touchdown. He had 76 yards on the ground that game, but he also had 60-something through the air along with that screen pass touchdown.
Are you talking about the crazy catch? That catch was beautiful, if I'm not... There was one catch that he had that we were like, this dude can catch too? That wasn't that game?
I don't think so. It was the playoff game. I don't remember which of the first 4 touchdowns, but I'm almost positive it was one of the first 4 touchdowns they scored. A screen pass, blockers out in front of him, and there was another one. I don't know which Steeler tried to make the tackle, but he dove in from the side, and Nick Chubb literally bounced off of him like a bouncy ball. It was unbelievable, and I watched that. It was one of the coolest plays I've seen in a long, long time in terms of, again, that bowling ball ideology for a running back. Nobody was more like that than Nick Chubb, and he was legitimately bouncing off of defenders. Him and Alvin Kamara were the peak at the time of doing that. And you're just like, what are you supposed to do to tackle this guy? Taking a 40-something yard screen pass to the house in a playoff game? What are you supposed to do? That is the biggest, the best Browns memory in the past, I don't know, maybe ever, in terms of that playoff win, and he scored a touchdown in it. That has to be on my list.
So it wasn't that game. I just Googled it. It was 6 years ago, Nick Chubb versus the Bengals, and he catches the ball with the defender.
Oh wow, I don't even remember that.
Only reason why I thought of that because this was when we were first getting that they were trying to well, who's gonna be the receiving back? And then Nick Chubb catches this crazy touchdown pass for the defender. He's he caught it this, hugging the defender. That's got to be an honorable mention. That's one of the best. That's got to be one of the best Nick Chubb plays ever. And it wasn't even at his feet; it was at his hands. But my number one. It was that 2 years ago now? I think that was 2 years ago. I did a challenge where I benched pressed 225 every day as many times as I could until Nick Chubb or Myles Garrett worked out with me. The workouts didn't happen, but I got 2 instances where Nick Chubb personally took time out of his day or took time to come see me and to just recognize me. And when you talk about players I fanboyed when I'm now friends with Josh Cribbs. It's crazy to think about that growing up watching him every single Sunday. And when Nick Chubb, first off, got to give the shout out to the kid at the David Njoku softball game. If it wasn't for the kid saying, "Oh my God, Chef Zay, that's you," Nick Chubb would have never turned around and saw that it was me. But he got done signing autographs for the baseball team on the field. And as soon as he was done, he turned around, beeline straight to me. And this was right after the 100 days challenge that I had done. I'm like, "Nick Chubb, I went 100 days strong for you, man." He's like, "Yeah, I know, I saw you." And he signed my jersey, and I still have it. And then the second one was at the training camp. And, after training camp, players go and sign, and Nick Chubb standing on the sideline. And he signed for the group of kids that went on to the field. And I'm like, well, he's not going to come over here to the sideline. And sure enough, he comes on. He's talking to whoever he's talking. He's like, "No, I'm going to go over here and sign real quick." It was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. I go, "Yo, Chubb, when we going to work out?" He looked over, cracked a huge smile at me. And I'm like, oh, he's going to come over and say what's up to me. Sure enough, he goes right down the line. He hits all the autographs. And I got the video of it, and I'm like, we got to get our workout in. And he puts the pen in his other hand and daps me up. And I'm just
That's awesome.
I can't think of a better Nick Chubb moment because it's like he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to come recognize me. He didn't even have to remember who I was. And I credit a lot of people gave me crap for my 100-day challenge, but if I had not done that 100-day challenge, Nicholas Jamal Chubb would not know who I am. So that's my number one moment.
I love it. I wish mine was as personal as that, but it's not. That is as good as it gets. But I'm going with the welcome back touchdown against the Bengals. I mean, you talk about moments that will ring in Browns history, that whole year plus of recovery. What is going to be the stamp you leave on the first game back? And he scored the first touchdown for the Browns. And I don't think it was the first touchdown of the game, because I think the Bengals returned one of the opening kicks for if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, that is the best Nick Chubb memory I have. You can't write the story of Nick Chubb without the Pittsburgh Steelers injury, as bad as it is. It's true, you can't write it without it, and he'd probably be the first one to tell you that. But the other side of it, how will he be remembered, is it's the snowball game, but it's also his first touchdown back. But regardless of the list, every single person has unique Nick Chubb memories. We are so thankful for his time in Cleveland. He is truly an icon. The fact that we are even mentioning him in the Ring of Honor 24 hours, 48 hours after he signed with a different team should tell you all you need to know, and his career is not even over yet. Zay, I'll let you finish up with anything else you want to say about Nick Chubb.
Nah, man. Nick Chubb, bro, thank you for the 7 years that you gave Cleveland. Right up there with Joe Thomas, if not right, like you're head and head. We can't thank you enough. You gave everything to this city, and you gave us a ton of memories. And I can guarantee you that you've got every Browns fan support on Sundays out there in Houston.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We absolutely appreciate you, Nick Chubb, if you are watching. We're going to move on to our Q&A segment next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay, and this is Around the Land, our Q&A mailbag segment where we answer your questions across social media, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Honor the Land. Same handle as it is on here. We got 3 really good questions today. Pat, I'm going to kick it to you for our first of 3.
All right, guys. Who's going to take the biggest leap on defense this year for each position group?
Ooh, okay. You want Zay?
Go ahead.
Let's do D-line, linebackers, DBs. I can start D-line. I don't know if it's a biased answer, homer answer. I love what I saw at Alex Wright the past 2 years. and I think he is going to make a huge impact on the defensive line, even if it's not playing 50 plus. Like I still think he could wind up playing 50% of snaps, 55, 60% of snaps, and be a noticeable difference maker. So I'm going to go D-line Alex Wright.
Good. I'm glad you took him because I love Alex Wright this year. I think we missed him last year, that's for sure.
Yes.
But I'm going to go Isaiah McGuire. I think
I like that too.
year 3, what we saw out of him last year, especially towards the end of the season, flying under the radar, who doesn't have to worry about a chip or an expectation or any of these things. He can just go out there and take that next step. We talked about the offensive line or defensive line a little bit last week. I was going to put Mike Hall as that guy because I think Mike Hall could cause a lot of problems this year. But just thinking about what Isaiah McGuire did at the end of last year, I think he's due to take another step this year. And actually, people are going to be looking at him and being like, okay, this guy's legit.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And I think overall, looking at PFF grades, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of edge rushers who played 20% more of snaps, he was ranked 28 out of every edge rusher in the NFL, which is pretty crazy. He was extremely productive when he was out there. If you got your linebacker, I'll let you go first because I have a funny feeling we're going to have the same two, and I'll take the other one that you don't want.
Obviously, I'm probably becoming one of the bigger Carson Schwarzenegger fans. I'm not going to go that just because he's a rookie. But Mohamed Diabate.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think this is a year for him to make himself for a name as well. He stepped in and made some impacts last year when JOK went down. JOK is not going to be back again this year. Maybe the other guy that you're thinking of, we might be thinking, if you don't say him, we got to give him an honorable mention. But I
think I'm going to.
Okay. Well, I like Diabate to make the most of the opportunities that he'll get this year, especially knowing that there's a young buck who all signs look like he's going to be leading that defense at one point. So give me 43.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I think that's a guy who can be your early down strong linebacker. I think that's a guy, if you want to have Jordan Hicks out there and have Carson Schlesinger as your backside guy, you need a strong side guy that's going to match personnel that will have to replace Greg Newsome when the other team rolls out 2 tight ends. That's just the reality of it. You can't have Greg Newsome out there early downs when teams are going to want to run the ball. Just how it goes. Devin Bush is my guy. Was that the guy you were thinking of?
No, I actually was thinking Hicks.
Oh, okay. See, Jordan Hicks is very good, and I think we know what we're going to get from Jordan Hicks. To me, Devin Bush, we don't know, which is a terrifying thing, but it's also a very exciting thing because he is so multiple in what he can do. He's so athletic. I don't want to compare him to JOK, but I do think their trigger is the same. I think they play very instinctually. I think they have a nose for the football. I think generally speaking, JOK is a little more disciplined in his nose for the football than Devin Bush is. But I am interested to see how they use Devin Bush. Like if they feel maybe Carson Schlesinger is better on the strong side against a certain team, are you going to have Mohamed Diabate play that weak side backer, or are you going to give somebody a chance who's not afraid to pull the trigger a little bit, play downhill? I think Devin Bush is going to be used in a lot of different scenarios, but to me, that's the guy who can be a one-down difference maker. He can get you the TFL on a run blitz when you need it. Maybe he's a guy you add in a blitz. I think he is a difference maker that the Browns kind of lacked at the linebacker position last year.
I like that because you know me last season. I was a big advocate for Devin Bush. Everybody always was giving Devin Bush crap, and I mean it was either him or Isaiah McGuire. One of the grades, he was like 8th in something. Devin Bush was. I don't know what grade that was, but I remember seeing a graphic where he was 8th for something. Was it run defense? There's something.
I don't think it was. I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't. I'll have to double check that just to make sure I'm not tripping. But I remember seeing a good grade for something that Devin Bush did. But we're to our safety or secondary position?
DBs, yeah. DBs.
I'm torn because I think one guy has no choice but to bounce back. Yeah. And then another guy that I'm thinking of has an opportunity in front of him. So I'll go honorable mention to Cam Mitchell. I think Cam Mitchell has an opportunity to take over the Greg Newsome duties. Yeah. Now, we obviously saw Jair Alexander get cut or released from the Packers, which instantly went to Greg Newsome and maybe being potentially trade talks. I think I seen someone talk about maybe going to get one of their receivers, Christian Watson maybe. I don't know if that's a play, but I'm hoping that's not the case. But if Greg Newsome isn't on this team next year, I think Cam Mitchell has a very good opportunity to get himself a contract with us. But I'm going Martin Emerson. This after the season that he had last year, he switched back to his number 1 jersey, which he played in college. I think Martin Emerson is looking to quiet those doubters up because what we saw last season was not Martin Emerson. I think it's somewhere in between the middle, probably, but I think it's probably closer to what we saw of rookie Martin Emerson. Denzel Ward, I'm not trying to put anything in the air, but it's like it's only a matter of time before he's probably not with us anymore. Martin Emerson could get himself a big payday if he bounces back this year, and I think he has every intention on doing so.
I like that a lot. I really like that you brought up Cam Mitchell. I think that is the next guy up, whether it's Martin Emerson leaving in free agency, whether it's a Greg Newsome trade. I think the Browns would give Denzel Ward a blank check, to be fully honest with you. But regardless, he's the next guy up, and you can't, your team doesn't stay healthy the entirety of the year. That's the reality of football. He's the next guy up in a very, very important position. But the guy I think is going to take the biggest leap, and I hate leaning into the media stuff and watching what people say in interviews and being like, yeah, I believe in this guy. But there's definitely a sense of maturity with Grant Delpit this year. Grant Delpit came into the league very raw, was good in certain aspects, needed a lot of work in other aspects. It was actually Dylan Gabriel today said, continuous improvement. That's the motto for him in the quarterback room right now. That's what I've noticed from Grant Delpit the past couple of years. He's gotten better every single year. And now with Juan Thornhill gone, he is the true leader, at least in my opinion, in the DB room. And I think he's cherishing that opportunity. That plus the talent he has, plus a lot of different ways he could be used in this defense with him being more comfortable rolling down to the box. Obviously, Ronnie Hickman's a guy we talked about a bunch who's got to play better and has to make a step. But the guy I think will make a step is Grant Delpit because of the opportunity. And he's not shown us anything but I'm ready for this opportunity the past couple of years.
Grant, I mean, that's right up my alley. Grant and Emerson are my 2 favorite players on that defense, besides the obvious answers of Ward and Myles Garrett. So I can't wait to see what Grant Delpit's going to do this year because, like you said, it's his safety room right now.
Yes, absolutely. Pat, let's go to the second question here. An emotional question, but I think we're going to have to give answers to it. So let's hear it.
Yeah, this will be a tough one. But do you think Browns fans could like Quinshon Judkins as much as they do Nick Chubb?
You want to answer first?
I think the answer is yes, but I'm just wondering what it would take. Like, I think it will get to a point where you like Quinshon Judkins more. Like, I think if he was a huge part in a Super Bowl team, he would surpass Nick Chubb in Browns fans' eyes. I think if Quinshon Judkins is a huge part in the first Super Bowl in Cleveland, Ohio, are you kidding me? He would surpass Nick Chubb. And I know people love Nick Chubb. Maybe it's too soon to say this, but I think when the dust quiets down here, there will be very, very few people who disagree with me that if Judkins was a 1,200-plus yard rusher and had I don't want to say Saquon Barkley-esque playoff run because nobody's probably ever going to do that again, but a run where you thought pretty much every game he's the best player on the offense, oh my gosh, you wouldn't forget about Nick Chubb, but people would like him more, 100%.
That's bold. I feel like I get where you're going. I get where you're going because like with my jersey selection, the championship means something. Like if oh
my gosh,
you know what I mean? Like obviously, yeah. But when you talk about Nick Chubb and you talk about what he meant to this city, when I look at Quinshon, when you think about Nick Chubb, he's the epitome of Cleveland. He's put your head down and get to work. He's not talk. He's not flashy. He's not any of these things. He's loyal as they come, vocally loyal in terms of what he wanted for the city, for himself. I think, to answer the question, yes, I think they would be able to like him more than Chubb. But will he ever get to Chubb's level? I don't know because Chubb is a one-of-a-kind human being. And I'm not saying that Quinshon Judkins isn't that human being, that type of person. But, like, Chubb was no talk. Chubb was all work. And that's what the city of Cleveland is. And I just think that if we're sitting here saying, can we put someone above that? That's like saying if Jedrick Wills was a huge part of a Browns Super Bowl, would he surpass Joe Thomas? I I don't think we could sit here. Obviously, it's different because
I don't think that's the same. That's not the same.
Hear me out. That's a first round pick. Jedrick Wills was the 10th overall pick, right? If he would have came in and filled in the shoes, we'd be like, and he was the best top 2 tackle in the league. Would you? I mean, you'd be like, dang. I guess we don't miss Joe Thomas as much, right? Obviously, it's not the same, but it's kind of like that in a sense because of where he was drafted.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Let's say 4 years down the line, the Cleveland Browns win their first Super Bowl and Quinshon Judkins is the MVP. Who is cherished more in Cleveland, Quinshon Judkins or Nick Chubb? I think it is undoubtedly, unequivocally Quinshon Judkins.
Who's the quarterback?
It doesn't matter. He wins Super Bowl MVP. See, I think here's the thing. Nick Chubb as a person, you're right. It is going to be so hard to like usurp or like surpass him as a human being and what they mean to the city of Cleveland. I think the only thing that could do it is a Super Bowl. And I think if the MVP of the Super Bowl is Quinshon Judkins, it is too early and it is too soon to be saying this. And I know I'm going to get backlash for saying it this soon, but this is the hard truth. If the almighty Super Bowl in Cleveland, Ohio is what's at the pedestal here, the most important player in that run will be a Cleveland hero. I'm not going to put him over LeBron, but it would be at that level. It would be at that level. 100%.
I don't know. It may just be too early for me, but I don't think...
It's too early. It's too early, but I think it is the truth.
I don't think he would ever serve. I think it would be like, pick your poison. Pick, like, what do you feel like? What do you personally like better? Yeah, but it would be like, they're the same. Fair. I feel like the top level is Chubb. I don't think you can surpass Nick Chubb. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, with Baker if Baker Mayfield was still here, I don't... Maybe it could just be the homerism in me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's too soon. It's too soon. It's too soon to be having a legitimate, logical conversation about what it would be like down the line. I think if you were to ask somebody this in a year, 9 out of 10 people would say it's Judkins. If he's a Super Bowl MVP for the first Cleveland Browns Super Bowl ever, come on.
I think the quarterback plays a role though, because the way the Browns.
Well, what if it's like the PJ Walker games or the DTR games they wound up winning, where the quarterback very clearly is not the reason they're winning. It's the defense, and there's another entity. Sometimes it was Amari Cooper, sometimes it was David Njoku, but the entity this time is Quinshon Judkins. And it seems like that's always the reality with the Kevin Stefanski offense too. It's never hinged on the quarterback here unless they try to tailor it around Deshaun Watson. I don't know. I don't know.
We probably don't have much time left in this segment, but let's just go a little bit deeper down this rabbit hole.
Let's do it.
Let's say that he gets that Super Bowl MVP and he leaves us the very next season because he wanted more money.
That's very different. I would agree with you that Nick Chubb, it would be there. But if Quinshon Judkins is even comparable emotionally, keep in mind, this is a guy cherished in Ohio, went to Ohio State beforehand.
Forgot about that.
Who's moderately loyal. Like he tries to emulate Nick Chubb in what he does in terms of how loyal he is, how he handles himself. And there's no reason for any of us to believe that he is going to be super flashy in the media or like, you know, all these crazy deals, like the outward projections we've had for Shedeur Sanders, which aren't really true. But if he emulates that, a local Ohio State guy who won a national championship, I'm telling you, he would be more of love.
We'll have to revisit this. We'll get on to our next thing because I know we don't got much time, but we'll definitely have to revisit this conversation because I think it's a good one.
That's funny, though, because I'm going to jump in right here, guys. And actually, the thing about it that's interesting to me, too, is because where does Dylan Sampson fit into that role? And I know we don't have any time, but he would be the Kareem Hunt of that situation. If it's more of an even timeshare in the backfield, would people really care about Judkins? It's a really interesting topic because then you can think back to the quarterbacks. If Baker Mayfield won one more playoff game, where would you put him next to Bernie Kosar? You know, because they had all the heartbreak in the 80s, but if Baker was pretty good and then lost to a really good Chiefs team in the playoffs, like, you know, where do you put him? But that's the hard one, guys, living here in Cleveland, Ohio. But one more question for you guys. How many weeks until it is Shedeur Sanders' perfect timing?
Man, I got a lot to say about this one.
Let's pretend it's week 1 because I don't want to do the math. Let's say it's week 1 right now. What week in the NFL season is it perfect timing?
I was in that camp where I thought it was going to be in the second half of the season.
Yeah, the Titans game I remember you talking about.
For some reason, I just don't think it's going to take that long. I don't think it's going to take that long. I think the real question is going to be, is Joe Flacco the emergency quarterback or is he the starter? If he's the starter, I think we have a better opportunity to go out there and maybe win some more games. But if he's the emergency quarterback and the just-in-case guy, I'm thinking we see Shedeur Sanders right around, whether it's a week or two before the bye or a week or two after the bye. I think we might see perfect timing sooner rather than later. I just think his presence, how he's carrying himself, how he's winning some winning days in camps. Obviously, all of this stuff matters to the coaches and stuff. I just don't see a world where they can keep him on the bench when he's excelling in everything that he's doing.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm definitely going to go post-bye. I think if there's a couple layers to this, right? Number one, are Pickett and Flacco both on the roster?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big layer to this because the Browns will do everything they can to win in the first half of the year. That's the reality of it. They're not going to make any I don't think at least drastic changes unless they feel Shedeur, Dylan Gabriel, whoever it is, rookie, dominating minicamp, dominating training camp. That's the only way they would make a change if Flacco and Pickett were on the roster. So that's a big layer to this. Number two, it's also whichever quarterback they believe in more, right? It's going to depend on training camp. It's going to depend on preseason. I think we're going to see both quarterbacks this year if they turn to a rookie, unless one of them absolutely blows you out of the water the first week or two. They're probably going to see both if they want to go towards the rookie. But I think post-bye, I said it as soon as the schedule came out, week 10. Week 10 against the Jets, you got 2 weeks to prepare. Get your rookie quarterback, whoever it may be, ready for week 10. So I'll go week 10. You're going to go before or after the bye, Zay?
I'm going to go after the bye. I'll stick with it. But if Kenny Pickett's traded and...
Yeah, that pushes the timeline up.
I think it pushes the timeline up. I think the bigger question is, how far off the map does Dylan Gabriel fall? Because I think it all rides on him. I think... You don't take him third if you don't give him the first crack at it. Unless for
Agreed.
you know what I mean? Unless training camp Shedeur is literally just, I don't know how you measure that on a measuring scale, but I think it all rides on Dylan Gabriel. I think they want to see what they thought, and they thought that he was the guy that they wanted to take in the third round. I just don't know how he doesn't play before Shedeur.
Yeah, it's fair. I'm 100% with you. But regardless of who the rookie quarterback is, we're on the same page that it will be this season. We will see somebody this season. Regardless of who it is, we are going to finish up next here on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. And we have some breaking news on Honor the Land. Nick Chubb was not the final domino to fall in the running back market. It is J.K. Dobbins, who now signs with the Denver Broncos to join R.J. Harvey, to join Jaleel McLaughlin in an offense that features running backs in a lot of different ways. I know originally in the offseason, the Browns were rumored to be in on J.K. Dobbins or in on one of those running backs, but all those dominoes have pretty much fallen. Zay, what do you make of this move for the Denver Broncos, who I think are a good team now?
I'm tired of the Denver Broncos, honestly. Like, dang, man. Like, Sean Payton, when did he become a free agent in the coaching market? Because, like, damn, time and time again, this dude just continues to prove that he's the man. Like, he is the man.
Yeah.
Didn't want Russell Wilson? Okay, I'm gonna go draft Bo Nix and prove you guys wrong that he's the guy. Like, it seems like I mentioned it earlier. The rich continue to get richer. The Denver Broncos and that AFC East, or what is it, AFC West?
West,
yeah. Man, it's gonna be popcorn every single Sunday with those guys. So I'm, good job for them, but I'm sick of y'all.
I'm also, well, here's the thing. I'm kind of sick of them too, but I think this is the best chance any team has had. I'm just going to say since Patrick Mahomes started playing quarterback for the Chiefs to unseat them in the AFC West. I think this is the best team that can line up against the Chiefs or have lined up against the Chiefs. Oh, I think Denver is better than the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I think Denver has the best defense in the NFL, and I think there's a legitimate argument for them to have a top 10 offense this year. I love what they did in the offseason, but we also have some other AFC North related news. Aaron Rodgers spotted for the first time today in his Steelers gear. I mean, this also happened between shows. We knew it was going to happen. I think we talked about it 3 different shows. We knew it was happening. But Myles Garrett said he wants to put him in the graveyard. And I think when you look at the Steelers' offensive line and what he did against them last year, he probably will put him in the graveyard at least once. How are you feeling about Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh? It's an upgraded quarterback, and any logical fan will say that. They know that. But is it that big of one? I don't know.
It's crazy because I have a lot of Steelers fans that follow my content, and I know for a fact that they are not happy about it.
Really?
Yeah, they're not happy about it. They don't want Aaron Rodgers. I know someone personally who's an Aaron Rodgers or who's a Steelers fan. He's like, yeah, I didn't want him, and I'm just thinking to myself like, yeah, y'all are spoiled up there in Pittsburgh. Like, what are we talking about?
Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how much that annoys me. What are the okay? So you're gonna keep Will Howard or Mason Rudolph?
They were banking on Will Howard.
Will Howard, first of all, let me just tell you, I love Will Howard, and I think he could be a very good quarterback under the right tutelage. Do you think the mentor he should have is Mason Rudolph? No. What? Like, are you kidding? I don't understand how you can logically sit here as a Steelers fan, look at your aging roster, a player like TJ Watt, who's got probably 2 to 3 good years left, Cam Hayward, you have Darius Slay in the secondary, Minka's slowing down a little bit, and say, let's turn to a rookie quarterback. When you look at Aaron Rodgers, who was top 10 in passing yards last year, top 10 in passing touchdowns last year, was healthy last year. I don't understand how you can look at the opportunity to bring a guy like that in. He is in my opinion, noticeable upgrade from Mason Rudolph and not be excited about it. I don't understand. I don't get it. Yeah, exactly. Any Steelers fans who's like pounding the table like, no, we don't need this guy is crazy. Is straight up crazy. I mean, this guy is good.
Y'all are crazy in my comment section, all right?
I have a lot of Steelers fan friends who I love. But anybody who's literally going to sit here and freak out in a bad way about the Steelers signing a multiple-time MVP who, if you watched him last year, was not the biggest reason the Jets stunk, is out of their mind. They're out of their mind.
We're going to keep it in the AFC North real quick, too, because I just came across this on the feed. Bengals rookie defensive end, Shamir Stewart, went off on the team's front office. Did you see it?
Go. No, go.
His quote, this is the quote that I didn't watch the video, but this is the quote. I'm not asking for nothing y'all have never done before, but y'all, quotation mark, Bengals, just want to win arguments more than winning games, in my opinion. What is going on down there in Kentucky? I mean, they are. I do a show on the Roundtable Sports where it's all the AFC North guys that won, and I've posed this question a lot. Like, is there a ticking time bomb on Joe Burrow? I know you just signed yourself. You got your 2 guys back in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, so that probably pushes the time back. But like, they've shown that they're playing hardball with everybody, with Joe Burrow, with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins, now with your rookie guy. Like, what's going on in Kentucky, Max?
I don't know. The Bengals, to me, is a whole other thing. Like, I don't know if you also saw, I thought you were going to talk about Trey Hendrickson not being at mandatory minicamp. But TJ Watt was also not at mandatory minicamp. Here's the thing. I look at both of those situations, and I think, okay, the Steelers and TJ Watt will probably work something out. If they don't, the Steelers are mature enough to get a good enough haul back for him. They traded George Pickens. They've done it before, right? The Bengals have Trey Hendrickson not reporting, who I won't say it now. I'll say it after Thanksgiving. But they have Trey Hendrickson not reporting, and now Shamar Stewart. Do you know how crazy it is for a rookie to not sign his first NFL contract? Minimal character concerns about Shamar Stewart coming into the year. That's not a reason here. This ownership group, honestly, maybe he's right. Maybe they're petty in a sense where they just want to win arguments. They want to look at him. They want to look at Trey Hendrickson really and be like, this is where we're drawing the hard line, Trey. We're not paying you more than this. You got to agree with it. And they have no agenda in their mind other than, yeah, he's going to eventually come around to this. No, like that's not how it works. I think Trey Hendrickson's probably going to get traded, to be honest with you. But if he gets traded, you better hope a rookie works out his first NFL contract. Like, are you kidding me? How does that happen?
Are they like the mini Dolans of football? Now I know obviously they spend a little bit more money than the Dolans, but the Dolans don't like to spend that bread, and that's what I mean. We're talking about an organization who was selling TVs to create more money. Something that Cleveland owners don't have a problem doing, shelling out the bread. Y'all better make your players happy, man. What are y'all doing?
I don't know, and I've said throughout the offseason, my patented quote about the Bengals is the defense cannot get worse. If Trey Hendrickson leaves, it gets worse. That is for sure. For sure. But we're going to finish up talking some more AFC North about the Browns. Obviously, you have mandatory minicamp these next couple days. Who is one player that you're looking at outside of the quarterback room to kind of make an impact or just see where he lands on the depth chart in terms of where he's running routes, where he's rushing the passer in terms of the depth on the roster? Who are you looking at?
It kind of just came out of nowhere now because I'm a little bit intrigued in what's going on with Cedric Tillman. I think Jamari Thrash is he fighting his way to be wide receiver number 2? I know we got Deontay Johnson and we got Cedric Tillman. Those guys should be clear in the head above Jamari Thrash. But it seems as if Jamari Thrash, it could just be OTAs. It could just be the dog days and me over here speculating. But I'm interested to see how if Jamari Thrash finds himself in those first and second team reps because let's be honest, the receiver position is open for the taking this year. Anybody could come in, whether it be a guy that they still sign in, the Menor kid Florio, who's made some noise, or just any of the guys that have already been here, has an opportunity to come in and make themselves a vocal point in this offense. So I'm intrigued to see who's going to step up and grab that number 2 wide receiver spot. I don't want it given to anybody this year. I know we love Cedric Tillman. Me and you both love him. But if he's not the player that, we're hoping for him to be, I want someone to come and take it.
Yeah, no, I am also looking at the receiver room. I don't think it's crazy to think that he could have a significant role or is vying for that, especially because we've said all offseason you need a third guy to step up. I mean, I'm obviously looking at Deontay Johnson. Mm-hmm. I was going to say Luke Floria as well, but the more I think about it, the more I'm wondering, what the hell are they doing with Tevin Jenkins? Where is he on the offensive line? Is he going to play guard? Is he going to transition out to tackle? I have no idea. It was the most confusing signing of the offseason for me because it was a premier offensive lineman that you had that was kind of signed as a depth piece. And from what we've seen, Zach Zinter is the depth piece, the 6th guy. I want to see where Tevin Jenkins is on that offensive line. Zay, we are out of time here. I will let you finish with anything else you got to say before we sign off.
If you want to run through a wall, if you're a Shedeur Sanders fan, like mainly because I know people that aren't Shedeur fans aren't going to care less. But if you want to run through a wall and just listen to something that's different that we haven't heard from a 5th-round quarterback, I advise you guys to please go listen back to the press conference after the first day at minicamp and just listen to how polished he sounds. Listen to just that breath of fresh air that's like, this is a Cleveland Browns quarterback right now? I get that feel from it. I was ready to run through a wall when I came into the studio. So if you need a little bit of energy to get through this day, I'm telling you, that Shedeur Sanders press conference was pretty good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, we appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening. We will see you next time on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network.